Welcome back, everyone, to the Personal Finance Podcast. Today, we're really diving into something that I'm sure is on a lot of minds.
A big one.
It is a big one.
Yeah.
That Social Security cost of living adjustment,
The QLA.
the KOA for 2025.
Yes. Keeping your benefits in line with, the rising cost of living.
No, basically everything.
Yeah. Your groceries, your streaming services.
Everything.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's just get right to it.
Okay.
The big reveal.
All right.
What is the percentage increase for 2025?
Drum roll, please. 2.5%. So if you are receiving Social Security benefits, you can expect a 2.5% boost to those monthly checks starting in 2025.
2.5%.
Yes.
Now, I know some people might be thinking, is that it?
Right.
But let's break down how this number is actually calculated.
Yeah, this isn't just some random number that they
Right.
threw a dart at a board and they're like, that's it.
Right.
They look at inflation data.
Okay.
But this is a big data. But they specifically look at inflation data from July, August, and September.
Oh, really? So they base it off of just those 3 months?
They do. They do. And the CLA is directly tied to how much those prices have increased in those 3 months.
So it's like a little snapshot.
Yes.
That's
A little snapshot of the summer months. And that determines what the adjustment is for the entire year.
interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so going back to earlier this year, I mean, we saw inflation
Oh, absolutely.
all over the headlines.
It was crazy.
Everyone was freaking out.
Yeah, and if that had continued through the summer, we'd be looking at a much higher CLA.
Yeah.
Thankfully, things have cooled off a bit,
Right.
which is why you see that 2.5% adjustment.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So for somebody who receives, let's just say the average Social Security benefit, which is what, around $1,900?
Yeah, $1,900.
What does that 2.5% actually look like in their bank account?
So they'd be looking at an extra $48 or so each month.
Okay, so $48 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
It's not a ton.
a ton of money,
It's not going to change your life.
but every little bit counts.
Every little bit helps, especially when you're on a fixed income.
Absolutely.
And the good news is you don't have to do anything to get this.
Okay.
You don't have to apply for it.
That's good.
You don't have to call anybody.
Right.
It's automatic.
Perfect.
Added to your benefits starting in January of 2025.
So no paperwork,
No.
no long wait times on the phone,
Yep.
music to my ears,
Yeah,
just a little extra cushion in your budget.
exactly.
But speaking of things that impact your budget,
Yes.
Medicare Part B premiums.
Yes,
Those factor into this as well.
they do.
And we don't know about those yet, do we?
We haven't heard about those increases
Okay.
because those increases could really, take a chunk out of that CCOLA bump that we just talked about.
Right. And we're all just kind of sitting here
Right.
waiting.
Waiting.
When do we usually find out about those adjustments?
Usually early November, so we still have a little bit of a waiting game to play. But once we get those numbers, we can really have a better picture of how your Social Security income will be affected. Okay. In 2025.
So it's like they're strategically waiting to tell us.
Right. Almost to soften the blow of the COLA.
Right. Like, wouldn't it make more sense to tell us all this information at the same time so we can budget accordingly?
Transparency is key,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about retirement income. But for now, we wait and see
Oh, okay.
what those Medicare Part B premiums look like. And then we can really kind of get down to the nitty gritty and help people, budget accordingly for 2025.
Okay, so speaking of curveballs, let's talk about this Social Security reform debate that's been going on.
Oh, yes.
It seems like every other day there's a new headline about proposed changes, and honestly, it's kind of scary.
Retirement is a big deal.
It is.
And I know all this talk about reform, it's a lot for people to take in.
Yeah.
But the 2.5% COLA, it's a done deal.
Okay.
Like you said, it's happening.
Right.
That's going to happen no matter what happens in Washington.
Okay. That makes me feel better.
Yes.
Like, something's for sure.
Yes. This
Yeah.
is one thing you can count on. But, and this is a big but,
Okay.
you still have to be mindful of your spending.
Okay.
This ECOLA is designed to help you keep pace with the rising cost of living, not to drastically change your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's almost like you're running up a down escalator.
That is a great analogy.
You have to keep going just to stay in the same spot.
And it feels like that escalator is going faster and faster these days.
It really does feel like everything's getting more expensive.
Yes, inflation might be cooling, but it's still a factor.
Right.
So being proactive and making your dollars stretch as far as possible is super important.
So what are some practical things that our listeners can do
Yes.
starting today to make sure that they're getting the most out of their money, even with this EHOLA bump?
Sit down and take a look at your budget.
Yeah.
I know it's not the most fun thing in the world to do,
No.
but you really need to see where your money is going.
I think we've all been there where you look at your bank statement and you're like, where did it all go?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once you have a good picture of what your spending habits are, then you can think, okay, where can I maybe cut back without feeling like I'm sacrificing everything?
Right. It's not about depriving yourself.
No.
It's about being smart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe you cut back on dining out a couple times a month, or you look for entertainment that's a little bit more budget friendly.
I like that. Get creative with it.
Yes. There are tons of ways to save money and still have a social life and
Right.
not go crazy.
And it doesn't always have to be about cutting back. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
about making your money work better for you. Right.
100%. There are tons of ways to potentially boost your income, even in retirement.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a part-time gig that you might like, or you can explore different investment opportunities.
So it's really about taking control
Yes.
of your finances.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about taking control of your money and making it work for you just as hard as you worked.
That's right. Make that money work for you.
Exactly. And there you have it, the 2025 Social Security COLA. We broke it down, we explained it. Hopefully you understand it a little bit better.
We covered a lot today, but the biggest takeaway is knowledge is power.
Yeah.
The more you know about these adjustments, the better prepared you'll be to, handle retirement and everything.
And your finances and everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive of the 2025 COLA.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully you guys found this insightful and hopefully empowering.
Yes. It's never too early
Right.
to start planning.
It's never too late either.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. For more tips and insights on personal finance, follow us and stay tuned for more episodes.